And we're off. Hi, everybody. Hi. Ooh, I got dirt on here. Hi, everyone. It is currently anyway, it is the 8th of February, 2025. And this is going to be our UFC 312, 312 watch along for the two title fights. We're about to watch the co-main event. The hype package is running now. And then, yes, here we go. Let me make sure I got this. And then, of course, we'll watch the main event, Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. And then we're going to do the post-fight show right here, all on the same stream. So thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I am excited to be here. I feel like this card has gone more or less as expected, which was, I thought the prelim card was not spectacular, but pretty good. Pretty good. The three fights on the main card thus far have been fine. Not great. Fine. The Jake Matthews one was better. The Jimmy Crute one was not. Whatever. But the crown jewels, so to speak, are about to get started. The two title fights. Tatiana Suarez versus Zhang Weili. And then, of course, Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. So, thumbs up if you're watching. Yeah? Subscribe if you haven't. Really appreciate you being here. Yeah, this will be fun. This will be fun. Already got a couple folks. If you want to get any kind of comment on the screen, you want me to interact with it, by all means, fire something into the super chat. We'll do it. Here you go. And of course, this gentleman, I don't wish to mispronounce your name, but I appreciate you becoming a member. And Alex says, "What's up, Luke? The donk stream begins. Vapes and gummies for days." Well, I'm sober. I'm sober. Got to keep it good, but I'm sober. But I won't be after the fights. But right now I am. All right. This will be fun. Yeah, Tatiana Suarez finally back. Had a fight against Lemos, scheduled, didn't happen. Had a fight against Jandiroba, scheduled, didn't happen. She's 34. UFC said, fuck it, right to the front of the line, which I actually think is probably the right call. I think they made the right call. Whether that means she'll win, I think at her best, she absolutely should. I think she will, but I don't really know. Also, we'll talk about the Topuria brother, Alexander. I don't fucking know. The older Topuria brother. We'll talk about him on the post-fight show as well. A lot to like. Some stuff to work on for sure, but a lot to like as well. Yeah? So we'll get to all that at the post-fight show, and obviously we'll react to the main, we'll react to the co-main, all kinds of new stuff. Here we go. Got members flying in. Humphrey with that Federer-Nadal scoreboard in the back. That's cool. Sick. You know what? Let me get my glasses on. Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday or wherever you are. If it's Sunday your time watching this. Hope you had a great weekend. Tomorrow here in Los Estados Unidos, it's the Super Bowl. As we wait for this co-main event to get started, I will tell you that I wasn't thinking this morning. My pharmacy is in the Costco. So I went to my local Costco today, not even really like putting it together that like tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Yeah, word of advice. Don't go to Costco the day before the Super Bowl unless you want to have fist fights in the parking lot, and then you got to be like Barry Sanders trying to get through the aisles to get, whatever the fuck you're catering for tomorrow. Oh my God. It was an insane asylum. A fight from start to finish. Don't recommend that. Don't recommend that. The Mountain says, the clown show continues. Did you see, here we go. Are we doing political shit tonight? Did you see Pete Hegseth is trying to make the government pay $49K for an emergency paying job in his military housing? Yeah. Yes, I did. I mean, all the things that he will do, this will be the least of our problems. Let me assure you. Leslie, welcome to the party. There we go. Dude, I wasn't stocking up on Costco as like a normal day. As I was telling you, my pharmacy was in there. So I had to go. And then I was like, holy. By the way, I got to say this. I think people who buy single-use plastics need to really rethink what the hell they're doing. Like, If I had to guess, now I'm not a Costco expert, and again, here's Tatiana Suarez walking out here. If I had to guess on this, the number one thing I see in people's carts are like those like trays that they use at Costco, like not even it's not even a cart as much as like a thing you would like use to move a minivan, but bottles of water, like the big, like container of 30 of them. Like just get a Brita filter and use less plastics. No, I guess I don't really understand that one. That seems like insanely wasteful to me, and it might be the number one product that they sell. I don't know. I'm new to Costco. I give it 4 booms so far. Oh yeah, we already did this one already. I think you've mentioned Joya Burger in Mount Pleasant before. I finally tried it. It was outstanding. I do like it, but it's not the best one. I have a new one in DC. Ube ice cream was delicious too, but the dyes made my Okay. Okay, I'll give you guys this recommendation because people hit me up on email all the time. And again, here's Tatiana Suarez in the prep point. They're getting there ready to go. Patchy Mix in her corner. Yes, indeed. For people who are visiting the city, who you want a good place to eat, just in general, Unconventional Diner. I've mentioned it recently. The burger at Unconventional Diner. This is on what, 9th? Unconventional Diner is what, 9th and M, close to that? 9th and M on Northwest. The burger at Unconventional Diner is the best one I've had in the city, and I've had just about all of them. That one it's the best burger I've ever had in my life, I think. In terms of like pure taste, like, it's insane. So if you ever visit the city, Unconventional Diner, get their burger. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're doing, we're face shaming now, right? I guess we can do that. That's a nice thing to say, Luke. You're not only a great UFC draw. I don't know if that's even true anymore, but you're a great. I mean, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Appreciate you covering the Ali Act. Boy, did you guys see this? I have a video up about this. Ari Emanuel kind of letting it float out there that who knows what might happen to the Ali Act this year. Holy fucking shit. And the thing that is blowing me away is the nonchalance from boxing. Dude, these guys at TKO are okay. There are many ways that a federal law can be repealed. I've been looking into it. Obviously, you can pass new legislation. Now, that's going to be more difficult because it has to get through both chambers, obviously. So I don't know how that would go. Obviously, Supreme Court can overturn some stuff as well, depending on how things are interpreted. There's ways in which rules can not be enforced. There's like a lot of things that can be done. None of them are necessarily easy. So I don't know if they will be successful in overturning it. That part remains to be seen. But if they do, yes, there are a lot of ways in which they could word it, which, again, if they pass new legislation, do they keep certain parts of it? Do they get rid of all of it? It's really hard to say what might happen. But let's just say they repealed it as it's written. And most importantly, let's say that the promoter could control the titles, boys and girls. That's a fucking wrap on the combat sports industry. You are going to have one promoter who dominates as a monopoly in MMA, and over time, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to dominate and it's hard to become a global monopoly in a sport with a bigger participatory rate, but certainly in this market, they're going to become a monopoly, and I suspect they will monopolize in the industry more widely over time. It's a fucking wrap if they do that. It's a wrap. It's over. And the nonchalance I see from the boxing world, they're all like, it's already not enforced. Al Heyman has been violating the act forever, which is not technically true. But the argument is that if you look at PBC uses a different promotional company called TGB. So that allows Heyman to technically be the manager or, whatever the effective name of his role is. And then he's not actually the promoter of record. The promoter of record is Tom Brown and TGB Promotions. So it's not technically a violation in that sense, but it's basically the spirit of the law is not being enforced. And this is not an unfair argument, but the problem is Al is not setting up shop in a way where he takes home 80%. Al is making sure his guys get 80%. Right? So I'm not saying that there aren't bigger issues with the law or that it's perfectly enforced and always works. That is not my point. If they strip that shit out to the point where promoters in boxing can create their own titles and they can have long contracts, 5-year contracts or something like that, it is fucking over. it is over. It is motherfucking over. Mark my words. It will be over. And these boxers being like, I've always wanted MMA or boxing to be run like MMA. You're about to find out what the fuck that means. Ooh, you're about to find out what the fuck that means. It would take time. This would not happen overnight. It might take years as well. But the inexorable march to that, buddy, if they can, because I mean, nothing is a stronger argument for how effective the Ali Act has been at warding off monopoly than the fact that the monopoly from the sister industry said, fuck it, we can't play in that sandbox until you make it hospitable for us. Oh, we're just going to rewrite the rules. Again, if that actually ends up happening, holy shit. Okay, enough of that nonsense. Here we go. Whoops. Hold on, let's get the tail of the tape on here on the screen just a second. Just like that. There we go. In and out. Boom. All right. 35, 34. God, they're both. Suarez only 5'5". She has a 3-inch reach advantage. I don't know how much that will matter. It matters a little bit because you got to be able to touch someone to get to the takedown, but we'll see. All right. Here comes Bruce. All right. Zhang Weili looking, I guess, pretty ready. I don't know how you guys feel. In fact, I can go and look. Plastic bottles making our chodes small. What? Oh, they're making your dick small? Okay, that's sorry to hear that, I guess. Have I ever done shrooms? Not in a long time. What's up, Timmy? Thanks, bro. V Better ad on UFC stream promotes sustainability thoughts. I don't know anything about them. I would be speaking terribly out of turn. Your Tatiana Suarez minus 155 here. You have no one like John McCain to champion the act, but no surprise, Dana, with Trump sacking his. It seems like the last 6 to 8 months, the pay-per-views have been very underwhelming and not nearly as stacked as they once were. What gives? This is just where we are. It's just where we are. All right, there's Suarez. She looks pretty confident. Sativa or indica for the fight? Ooh, good question. I'm going to go indica, but that's a you call. I'm actually more of a hybrid guy. Adding unconventional diner to my list. Best fast food burger I've had in the area is Swizzler. Yeah, ooh, no. Best fast food one, Ghost Burger. I don't know. That's not really fast food. Lucky Buns. There's the one at Union Market. Shout out to Romy Aram in Suarez's corner, probably the most understated head coach in MMA. He's also Lorenz Larkin's head coach. Okay, the Riverside Killer. Sing Sing was snubbed. Best movie I've seen in years. Can't urge you more strongly to go see it. Coleman Domingo is phenomenal, very good. And then last but not least, due to this point, okay, we'll come back to that. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Face-off time, boys and girls. Face-off time. Make sure this is ready to rock. They're going to touch gloves, right? Yeah, of course they do. Okay, here we go. Round number 1, co-main event. Tatiana Suarez is going to see if she can quite literally wrestle the title away from Zhang Weili. Let's see. All right, we're waiting on Mike Beltran. Here we go. Round 1. Suarez southpaw. Zhang Weili, very light, obviously. Standing at far enough range as she can. Pretty wide stance. It's going to enable her, in more likely than not, to be better with her. That means not super wide, but it's not super narrow, so her takedown defense is going to be a little bit better that way. Open stance. So always be aware that head clashes are more likely in these scenarios. Oh, body lock off the big step in from Zhang Weili. And Tatiana Suarez is on top. Now you see Zhang Weili. She's trying to underhook the leg for probably some kind of deep half or funk roll, but it goes nowhere. And now you're looking at a top pin from Tatiana Suarez. That was a terrible idea from Zhang Weili. She just stepped right into it. Now she's staying calm, setting up frames. If you can force a fighter to not be able to get past the frame, you don't have to do a whole lot. Okay, she's going to step over. Nope. You saw her reach behind for the guillotine. Let it go. It wasn't there. So Tatiana Suarez has a couple of choices to make here. You can see she's chest to chest. That's going to limit her ground and pound, but it might serve her passing. So keep that in mind. And you can imagine Zhang Weili is going to look for any ability to get to a hip, sit up, just like that. Right? She just doesn't want to be flat on her back. And even now, okay, so Suarez looking for like body lock passing here. She doesn't actually have the lock, but we'll see. She's got the underhook on the far side, and she's framing off of the near side. You can see she's trying to wrap the head. Both she could look for a sub, or she could help use it to pass. Zhang Weili is doing everything she can to try and disrupt the base and the balance of Suarez. It's not very effective. However, what I would also say is, I don't know how long Zhang has been on the ground, but Suarez not necessarily heavy with the ground and pound. 5-round fight. Take your time if you can, especially in an advantageous position that you have secured. Make them use their energy, all that stuff. Okay, full butterfly guard now for Zhang Weili, and she has looking for a shoulder crunch. Crowd booing. All right, now full guard for Zhang. She tries to grapevine the feet to harass the balance. That doesn't really do a whole lot. And now she opened her guard. She's going to get passed again. Sure, right there. I'd say Zhang Weili's defense underneath is a little limited, but decent. She's not really, like if it was really good, she'd be able to spin underneath, sweep, create space, and stand. That's when it'd be like really good or like really threatened with a sub. And she doesn't really do any of that, but she does harass, and that's not nothing. Okay, now let's see if there's any kind of north-south choke attempt here from Suarez. These knees to the body are good. More of that. She needs more damage. Good turn. Let's see if the front headlock here. Oh, Zhang Weili stands. Oh, she's gonna sit for it. Zhang Weili. Oh, great job. Suarez sits for the takedown. Zhang Weili jumps to the opposite side to neutralize it. Great job, but she might readjust here. Let's see. Yep, she sure is trying. Now she lost it. Okay, let's see if Suarez, with a minute left, can stand. She might lock it up again. She might lock it up again. Oh, yeah, it's over both of them. Sorry, I thought she had it on the throat of the other side. Suarez, again, good job of Zhang Weili trying to walk around. Suarez might get Von Flute here if she's not a little... Oh, she let go. This was not a dominant round in terms of punishment from Tatiana Suarez. It was positionally, certainly. I'm not saying she didn't win it, but it wasn't like some home run. This is a good job to threaten to pass. It's testing the guard here of Suarez. That's good work. A lot of shoulder crunches from both ladies here. Okay. Round over. I'm not judging it hardcore, but it looked like a Suarez round. I mean, there was more control time, which is not by itself the determining factor, but I'm saying with that, it seemed like accumulatively that she did more work. It wasn't super dominant. You turn in a couple of those and then they go sideways, you're going to lose this. This is not the kind of, again, first round. Let's see what happens. Brad Riddell in the corner of Zhang Weili. Here we go. Round 2 coming up. Waiting on Mike. Here we go. Round 2. All right, so let's see if Zhang doesn't just jump into range and then get body locked again. Feinting her back with the leg kick. That was nice. You could see her feinting, throwing kicks from that side, showing the knee, showing the uppercut, right? Trying to dissuade a shot. That's why the body lock was such a good option for her in the last round. Suarez trying to run down a double. She's going to get it. Her hands locked. Yeah, that's it. She's going to get it right here. She's going to step through and pull her up. I'm going to guess. Step through right there. Let's see. She's either going to scoop her out or she's going to step through and lift her. Let's see. She's got the hands. Step through. Oh, she's going to step around. Interesting. Okay. Oh, she ended up on bottom. That's terrible. Deep half. She can roll here. She can roll here. Suarez kind of forced that takedown. I'm surprised she didn't pull her out. That was interesting. Suarez has got the underhook. That's going to be to her advantage. She might come out underneath the bottom here. She might funk roll underneath the bottom here. Let's see. Not really a funk roll. She's kind of trapped underneath here. Zhang Weili putting good pressure on top. She has to kind of bump her past and then come out the backside. You see that? You can bump them on the rear end and they go forward. She is using her head to post. That's going to make it hard. But you can do it and then scoot out. You can corkscrew out the back. Yes, now she's going to get to her base, it looks like. This is good. This is what I mean. This is what I mean about Zhang Weili. Just much better about finding places for damage. Suarez has got to stand. There we go. She might get ninja choked here. I don't think so. Nope. And then Suarez is back on it. Let's see what she can do here. She's got the double still. Hands are touching. I can't tell if there's really a good grip on that. She's trying to step over. She has to step through the middle. She lets it go. Got to have that grip, right? You can do any version of it, but good job by Zhang Weili in avoiding the worst there. Really good job. Oh, big right hand from Zhang Weili lands. Suarez head right up in the air. Zhang Weili's looking great, man. She's looking great. Suarez just runs her back. Now, that looks like it's desperate when you just run someone into the fence like that. But Craig Jones has made a point that, like, yeah, if it was like real wrestling and you tried it, you would just, you know, I mean, yeah, you got to push people out. But like in folk style, it wouldn't do you any good. But in MMA, it actually can be beneficial because once you get to the fence, it just becomes a new sequence. So, like, even if someone's, you know, running, let's see if she can get this trip. Suarez is looking a little shaky, folks. Looking a little shaky. She's getting pinned here and turned. Zhang Weili showing excellent preparation, the ability to turn defense into offense with some of these positions and the takedown. Good top control, good ground and pound for the most part. Good veteran savvy, knowing when to go, when to break. Suarez looking for the head one more time, gives it up. She's got she's got a full butterfly, excuse me. Okay, now she's got full butterfly and double underhooks. Now it's time to do something with it. This is a strong position. Time to do something with it. You could extend your legs, push them back, and then you can sit up. Right? Suarez getting punished here a little bit. This is a clear Zhang round. There you go. Tell you what, Zhang Weili looks great tonight already. You know, Suarez had a good round. Still 19-19. Anything can happen here, but it looks to me like some of the stuff starting to not work for Suarez, and they're just going to get more tired. They're going to get sweatier. It's going to get more difficult. We shall see. We shall see. Fox says, thanks for these live streams. Thanks to you guys. Here's the replay. Boom with that right hand. This gentleman or person has become a member. About to use 2 next fights as a nightlight. All right. This is great by Zhang Weili. Just finding offense everywhere. Right on the lip. All right, here we go. Seconds out. Round 3 coming up. This is a big round. Mike Beltran. Here we go. Round 3, Zhang versus Suarez. Man, Tatiana has look at her right knee; it's bleeding, and it looks like it's like reopened mat burn or something. It's weird, which would not be some scandal, but you know, I wasn't sure how they were going to physically match up, but Zhang is super competitive. Zhang Weili pulling. Look, she's going side to side and pulling her into Suarez into that right hand or the left hook. Right? Oh, right hand as she stepped in for the leg kick. Dude, Zhang Weili's she might finish her. She might finish her here. I'm saying maybe if not this sequence, maybe this round. She's starting to put it on her, and you can see the confidence in Suarez. I don't know. She hasn't given up or anything, but it looks like she's in that in-between stage where it hasn't dawned on her that this is not winnable. I'm not saying it's not, but like, you know what I mean? Like she hasn't reached that stage yet. Shot fails. She still has the underhook. Okay, she presses her into the fence. Let's see if she can reset here. They called her the female Habib once upon a time, in part because she was able to make the game work. But Habib would like not go back to the double here often. He would go switch to the single, body lock, trip. He's doing wall waza. He's going for leg attacks, hip attacks, trips, throws, the whole 9. Okay, this is better, and she's going to get turned over if she's not careful again. Zhang Weili has stopped 6 of 7 takedowns. That is excellent, man. My point being is you just don't see that kind of takedown diversity from a lot of people, and you don't see it from Tatiana Suarez in this fight. Watch. She's going to use her forward pressure against her. Oh, man. Dude, these takedowns are starting to look bad. These takedowns are starting to look bad. So watch. She jabs. She circles to her right. Zhang Weili circles to her right. Kind of fakes left, goes right, then goes up through the middle, right? Because she's pulling her, fades to the... Oh, she got kicked out of there, but faded to the right. She's pulling her into the power side. Right? Oh, big swing and a miss from Zhang. Zhang Weili has her hair up, but it looks like she's got that Jimmy Crute mullet. The mullet truly is just the worst. I mean, imagine going to a job interview with a mullet. I would just tell that fucking guy to get the hell out of my office. I'd be like, who the fuck are you? Can you even read? Oh, my God. Suarez almost ate a home run right hand, dude. Oof. Oh, my God, dude. She is just, I mean, Suarez is about, she is about a millimeter from getting decked. All right, she tries to come over the top of Suarez's left. Great down blocking, underhook, turns Suarez into the fence, covers the far shoulder, blocks the hip. Suarez is going to turn her here. That's normal. She sinks out, boom, repommels, and then the elbow comes over the top. Look at this, man. 2 of them. Holy shit. Zhang Weili is just much more, I mean, it's sort of a silly way to put it, just much more damaging. She just has more ways to score damage. It just seems like Suarez can't score damage unless she can get the takedown. And for the last 2 rounds, basically, she hasn't been able to get the takedown. Good takedown timing by Suarez. She timed that one perfectly. She's not going to get it because there's not enough time. And Zhang had good takedown defense, but that was much better timing. So that's boom. Look at that right hand. Okay, so that's 2 rounds to Zhang for me. So round 1 to Suarez, 2 and 3 to Zhang, I think. The sheer disrespect Peep's been giving Zhang was unbelievable. I don't think it was disrespect. She's just been inactive. Where has she been? She's 35. Like, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, it's like, whatever. This fight proves there's levels to this shit. Yeah, man, there's many fights that are like that, but this certainly is so far turning out to be one of them. Zhang finding offense. Exactly. Read my mind. Name a more fun female fighter than Zhang. Hell, name a champ besides Poatan and Ilya. More fun than her? I mean, we could find ones that are more fun, but to your point, she's an excellent, very entertaining fighter. All right, round 4, championship rounds coming up here, boys. I say boys because there might be some women watching. If you are, thank you. But, you know, not like we give them a lot of incentives to stick around. All right, here we go. Mike is always praying. Here we go. Round 4. So it has become clear that it is takedown or bust for Suarez. It doesn't appear that way at all for Zhang. Obviously, if Zhang can keep it on the feet, that improves her chances. But as we saw on the mat, she can score reversals. She can turn takedowns in open space. Oh my God, dude. She is gonna land that fucking right hand left hook. She is gonna land that right hand left hook. Oh, look at the inside trip. Sumigashi from Suarez saves her a little bit because she's able to roll. She was able to roll Zhang Weili back to her hands. You might have a bit of a deep half here. Let's see. No. Yep, she's got to come through. I don't know if she can do it. She's got the underhook, which is what she needs, but she has to scoot out and get to her base. And in the meantime, she's getting pummeled for it. She's going to get flattened out here. On the crossface. Yep, there it is. All right, so half butterfly for Tatiana Suarez underneath. Suarez looks like she's just hanging on for dear life here. She looks tired. Look at her body language. Did y'all see that? She put her head on the mat and took a big-ass breath. Oh, head and arm try. Is she about to submit Tatiana Suarez? Holy fucking shit. She might get her. I don't think it's very tight, but she might get it. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't look too tight. Not yet. Looks like she's okay. Yeah, it's a little high. I mean, she's getting some good. She's getting a good. Yeah, that's it. It was a little loose, but it was not bad. It was a decent attempt. You know what? People are going to say if this ends up continuing the way that it has been the last couple of rounds, people are going to say that, oh, Suarez didn't deserve it. And like on some level, that is quite obviously true. You know, she didn't get the as we mentioned, the Lemos fight. She didn't get the Jandiroba fight. But the reality is she was somebody of promise. She was hobbled by injuries. You know, I understand the matchmakers just seeing what was available, you know, at age 34, doing her a solid. I get it. And I don't begrudge the UFC for it. I don't begrudge Suarez for, you know, or this fight is fine. Even if it ends up being a blowout or, you know, a beatdown and Suarez just looked really limited. I get why they did what they did. I don't think it's a scandal. That being said, welcome back, Zhang Weili. I mean, it's not official yet. You know, there's still plenty of fight left, but she is kicking ass and taking names. Oop, invisible half. She's just trying to clamp onto Tatiana Suarez. It's not looking great, folks. You'll see that she didn't even try to stand. She just tried to latch onto the head and pull her back down. That is a terrible sign. If you're a Tatiana Suarez fan, that is a terrible sign. Also, it should be noted, we don't even know if Suarez is competing injured or medically sick or, you know, who knows, right? It's been such a, oh, look at Suarez, dude. She looks cooked. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I don't begrudge the matchmakers for making this fight. I really don't. This was one of those curiosities we needed to get answered, right? Sometimes you need answers in the fight game, and sometimes the answers they provide are surprising for one reason or another, or just take you a direction you maybe didn't necessarily expect, or maybe you did. Of course, it could always depend. Not just with this fight, with any other. But some questions do need to be answered, and Suarez getting a title shot, I do think, was one of them. But yeah. I mean, I have it at this point 3 rounds to 1 for Zhang. It's possible she might have 4. You know what I mean? All right. Well, folks, this has turned into one-way traffic. I mean, that was a better round for Suarez in the sense that she didn't get like rocked on the feet a million times, but oh, dude, holy fuck, look at that knee. It looks like a shark bite. Dude, what the fuck? Betchy mix. It's not bad at all. Tatiana, it's terrible. Dude, did you guys see her knee? That was fucking gross. Yeah, let me zip that back a little bit. Mira, I'm going to take a screenshot of this thing. There. Ah. Okay, let's go to the front. Let me here, let me show this to you. Give me a second. I'll have to get it ready. Hold on. Let me get the round timer ready, and then I'll get that thing ready. Hang on. I'll make sure I don't mess this up. Round 5. Zhang Weili getting the crowd into it. Here we go. Round 5. Hold on. I'm getting this ready. Hang on. I'm going to get this. Bro, look at this thing. Look at that. Yuck. Oh, here comes Suarez. Suarez is just trying to get this head inside single. She tries to trip. She got part of it right. You can see Suarez, she's tripping too high. You got to go a little lower. But she had the right thing. She had Zhang Weili bouncing. And she was reaching high because she was too far away. You got to be a little bit closer. I mean, it's, again, easier. I can't do it. But the rules are what the rules are, you know. People trip out, like sometimes here. You got to trip out at the base. Typically. There's some stuff that's like calf on calf, you know. There's some stuff where you can hook behind the knee. But in general, on those trips, like you got to get low to the bottom. Oh, Zhang Weili timing it, punching her way, or excuse me, punching as Suarez just kind of marching through, and then a knee to the body. Suarez, I'll give Suarez credit, man. She's trying to do anything she can. I respect it. I respect it, certainly. She's got the underhook, driving her against the fence, covering the far shoulder to a degree. Zhang Weili, just kind of chicken wings her over. This might prove a mistake, however. Oh, my God, dude. She couldn't even scramble to top position. Wow. Man, I've never seen Tatiana Suarez, I'm not going to say manhandled, but like out-scrambled, out-positioned. You just don't see that very often. Tatiana Suarez, excuse me, I should say. I apologize. Zhang Weili, amazing. Amazing fighter. Suarez trying to come out the back door, a bit of a funk roll. You could see she flares through. Back control from Zhang Weili off that flare out. Now she's going to move back to mount. She might move to mount and just start pounding on her. She turks the leg, moves into top half. Zhang Weili's got her toes in the fence. Better take those out. That's cheating. Look at that hook. Oh, my God, and the shoulder pressure. Suarez looks like she's gasping for air. Incredible performance at age 35, excuse me, from Zhang Weili. I'm not sure what to say, boys. She's beating the fuck out of her. Suarez just hanging on here. Just covering the head. Not even attempting anything at this point. Yeah, she's done. Look at the leech giving her instructions in the back. Or sorry, commentating. You'll see that? Yeah, I mean, she was better everywhere. She was better everywhere. There was nowhere Suarez was better. She's lucky to have survived, to be perfectly honest with you. And then they stand. Oh, man, she's wobbly when she stands. Dude, her face is a fucking mess. Jesus. Zhang Weili is going to retain, boys and girls. She's going to retain. She looked sensational. I couldn't hate on that if you tried. Very, very, very good fighter. Very good fighter. Suarez was she was overmatched. I mean, this is not like the analysis on this one is not complicated. She was completely overmatched. Which again, and we'll talk about this in the post-fight show, I really, really don't begrudge the UFC for that. I know some people are probably gonna. Why was she there? I think it's okay. Look at some of these replays here. Bang! But she missed off the hand trap, and then she was able to take her down. And then off that body lock, Tried to roll to the sort of like a head pinch kind of position, and then sat for the guillotine, but it wasn't really good. Oh, she just rushed it. Again, who knows what condition behind the scenes Tatiana Suarez was in? Not to say that like that's the reason why Zhang Weili won. Zhang Weili won because she was better everywhere, clearly, like observably better. But I mean, who the hell knows with Tatiana Suarez? You know what I mean? Who knows? What did you guys think of that fight, right? What did you think? Thanks for the stream, brother. Thanks to you guys for showing up. Damn, did the game pass Tatiana by while she was out with injuries? Yes. Shit is brutal, guys. It's a brutal, brutal, brutal fucking game. That's why Dominic Cruz missing all that time and still being competitive is like mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Tori says, Tati looks tired enough to shoot onto a knee. Riddell would be so proud. There's Patchy Mix. Seems like Weili is drowning Suarez with work, so she can't get anything done. Now Suarez, yeah, she looks super drained. Here we go. Dude, she got whooped. Rufus says, disappointed in Suarez's takedowns against the cage. Was expecting DC Habib. Instead, it was washed Usman. Yeah, you're right. 49-45 was one of them. She got a 10-8 in there. 2 49-46s for Zhang Weili, and then 149-45. Put it on her. Carl says, I thought Suarez was going to be the female GOAT before the injuries, but man, she's getting destroyed. Injuries and time off in this game are a fucking death sentence for just about everybody. How many more kicks is Suarez going to throw? Yeah, good question. Yay for professionalism. Hey, there's something to be said for it. How is Layla Anna Lee like a female UFC champ? Because her boyfriend is always in her. Who is Layla Anna Lee? Who the fuck is Layla Anna Lee? Here we go. Ant sent me this. By the way, they're doing a poll here in the poll section. Is the term fraud check applicable here? That's a little late for that. People fell in love with the concept of Suarez, what could have been. Zhang is the real deal. I never bit for Suarez winning this. Hey, congrats. I kind of leaned Suarez. I didn't really know, but there you go. Jeffrey says Suarez panicked when she saw her own blood. Rough. The ass kicking didn't help. How would you feel if your wife was as much of a hardcore MMA fan as you are? Who would win in the debate? I'd probably divorce her for being deranged if she was. What woman do you know wants to be a hardcore MMA fan who's like well-centered and, a good mom? It's like not many of them. Barone, so much for the Mexican warrior spirit heritage. Yet another durable, one-dimensional. Okay, I mean, guys, what the fuck are we doing? What's next for her? Last name Zhang. Weili's her first name. I know they reverse it in Chinese. Third fight with Rose at 125? No, I'm not sure. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. I guess Mackenzie Dern? I'm not sure. Jeffrey says DC's wrestler bias is beyond glazing. Took 4.5 rounds to talk more about Weili. Poor Tatiana, says Rob. There was a time when she could have held the belt. She's doing the Aussie thing. But the universe had other plans. MMA will always remind you life isn't fair, buddy. MMA will remind you that very quickly. Suarez, how can you be a fraud check if you're in a title fight, guys? How can it be a fraud check if you're in a title fight? And you've been in the UFC for years. Granted, there's some inactivity time. Okay, fine. Fraud is like the bubble has to pop before you get there, or you have to look like really bad. Like, Rich Franklin, kind of Nick Quarry territory. This is not that. Fraud is a little strong. She needs a real coach in her corner, not her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's a very good fighter. I don't think that's the issue. I really don't. Cosmo says, is it time to talk about Zhang's legacy as a fighter? Yeah. 35 years of age, too. Consider that. Why leave Habib? I'd still go Habib. Hey, dude, why is Marab everywhere? There's Joanna not showing up for my interviews all the way in Australia. Tuchang says, hit on Zhang by decision. Zhang, whatever, plus 300. 2 more parlays with her. If DDP gets KO, I'm going to go to Spearmint Rhino. Have fun there. I spent $700 in 45 minutes at Spearmint Rhino. What do you think is next for Zhang in the strawweight division? She could move up, I suppose. That's one thing they could do. She might have earned it. We'll talk about this on the post-fight show. When, if, does the Jones-Aspinall fight happen? Again, I have no fucking clue. Thank you, my friend. Brian Campbell with the tweet shout out on air. Yeah, they'll put his tweets on air, just not mine. Trent says, what happens when you pick your corner on pipe? Okay. That deep cut to Tati's knee in the second seemed to impact her performance. She wasn't the same sense. I don't think it helped, but I don't think that's the reason why she lost. I mean, look at this thing. Hold on, let's take this comment off. Dude, look at that thing. That is fucking gross. Yuck. All right. Are we doing bits on Joe Rogan here? I mean, I will leave this on the screen because you gave a donation, but it's not that I'd mind talking about other stuff. It's just, I don't know. Oh, the Ian Gary's wife thing. I didn't even know her fucking name. Oh, Alayla. That's right. What am I saying? Christ. Yes, of course that's who it is. My brain is not working. Oh, yeah. So we did a poll. Why was Suarez so bad? The Ant does these polls, by the way. But apparently 43% of you picked she wasn't. Zhang was so good. Suarez is limited. I don't think that's unfair to say. She is limited, but like, you know, Zhang Weili was better. We'll talk about the post-fight show. She was better everywhere. Here is Tai Tuivasa looking real fat. Looking super fat. Oh, they're swimming with the sharks in the aquarium. That's cool. Little sketch, but all right. So Rob Whitaker and yeah. There's Rob and I guess Tati. Oh, they're just doing tourism for Australia, right? Since the government paid for it. Phil, New Sydney. That's not a knife. This is a knife. I have traveled the world. I have never been to Australia or New Zealand. And I've been all over. Except there, I suppose. All right, here is your main event. Champion, at least for now, Dricus du Plessis takes on Sean Strickland. First time I saw them fight in real time, I thought DDP won. When I went back to break it down and sort of look at what had happened, I thought Strickland won. I didn't think Strickland's performance he clearly beat Costa. That's really not the issue. Didn't necessarily tell me the second fight would go different, but the first fight was a split decision. Technically, Sean Strickland had more volume, but I think DDP had more important volume. Like the kinds of things that mattered, he was throwing much more of those, and like a lot of the busy kind of nonsensical stuff. Not nonsensical, just not super important stuff. Strickland was throwing. I don't know what to make of this one. I tend to think it's probably going to look a lot like the first one with some notable differences. I do think DDP is still going to mix it up. So he's going to strike. He's going to wrestle, right? He's going to just play the levels, in range, out range, blitzes, you name it. The question is, can Sean Strickland find more opportunity for offense? It's really been his big Achilles heel. And again, we talked about this on MK. Jesus, was it yesterday at this point? Well, 2 days ago, since it's now Sunday morning here in Los Estados Unidos. We talked about it before. It's the reality is, I know he talks like a crazy game, like I'm going to kill everyone in this thing. I'm going to shoot up a school. I mean, he doesn't say that. I'm teasing, but you get what I'm saying. He says really horrendous shit, and then he fights very, very defensively. But like the reality is, like just look at the guy on tape. He's a defensively oriented fighter. That's what he is. He's a defense first guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't say that. I mean, dude, some of the best fighters ever have been defense first guys. Floyd Mayweather was a defense first, at least in the second iteration, was a defense first guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how many split decisions has he been on where he felt like he should have got the edge and didn't? And it's not that he doesn't have an argument for that. Again, I thought he beat DDP the first time when I went back and reviewed it. But the problem is, like, you're always going to be, if you have these trench warfare fights where you lob, then I lob, then you lob, then I lob, you're making a lot of this stuff a coin flip for the judges. You're not really putting a stamp. You're not putting sustained offense on a guy, memorable stuff that really puts him away. There's cumulative offense, and that matters too. You know, DDP's face was messed up after that fight for sure. But, you know, if you keep coming up short in a lot of these split decisions, you got some questions to ask about whether or not you're producing enough offense. And I think this fight is the big test, because if you're Strickland, man, I don't know if you get back here again. How old is Sean Strickland? Let's pull this up. So both of these gentlemen today, I'll give you their ages. Today, literally today, Dricus is 31 years, 3 weeks, and 4 days. Sean Strickland, 33 with 11 months. So he's almost 34. He's not past it, especially 185. That's not past it by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not exactly spring chicken territory either. If he doesn't get back here again, man, I don't really know. So I really think it's incumbent upon Sean to not get out of his comfort zone, or I should say not get away from his style. This is not what I'm saying. I think trying to break his style would destroy his chances. But he's really got him and his coaches, and I'm sure Eric Nixick has thought about this extensively. Where can we find offense in the natural flow of how he likes to fight? And I think this fight is going to be a big test of that. For DDP, I guess we'll fucking see. That guy is a gorilla, man. By the way, look at the VIP section. There's not many donks there. All right, here comes Sean Strickland to Johnny Comes Marching Home, right? There he is with that molester stash. Poatan in the corner. Apparently he's being escorted to the octagon with a janitor and a librarian. All right, here comes Strickland, taking it very seriously. I prefer that. I prefer that energy from him. Okay, Sean has now been joined by what appears to be Santa Claus. He appears to be in pretty good shape. Maybe a little bit less muscular than last time. Yeah, maybe a little bit less muscular than last time. I wonder about that. There's Nixick, Coach Nixick. Is it my imagination, or does Sean look not as in good shape? I mean, I'm not saying he looks in bad shape. That's not at all my point. But, like, not as good. Folks are like, oh, does he have staph on his left shoulder? He quite obviously has had staph on his left shoulder. The issue is, did he have medication for it recently? And if so, for how long? Jeffrey says, DDP by torpedo double fist. Yeah, maybe. Daniel says, low-key want Sean to win so we get him versus Hamzat. I don't really care who Hamzat fights, to be honest with you. I mean, Sean would be a better one, but either way, doesn't matter. Title fight, Hamzat. That's the attraction as far as I'm concerned. Timmy says, suppose Zhang moves up and fights Valentina odds. Again, we'll talk about it in the post-fight show, but it's a good question. Her options are getting to a point where, like, does a fight like that make sense? We'll talk about some of the merits of it. DDP, the shittiest good fighter ever. Dude, if you can be that and be a UFC champion, who cares what it looks like? You know what I mean? Why do you keep hyping up one-dimensional fighters like Suarez and Blanchfield? This is mixed martial arts. You only make this female error. Yes, guys, I don't know if you know this, but I'm the only one who ever promoted the possibility of Aaron Blanchfield and Tatiana Suarez. It was an entire sport of people who warned me not to do that. JD says, do you think the heavyweight division will ever get cut from UFC? I certainly hope. I certainly hope. Thank you, JA. All right, here comes your champion with the South African flag. Dricus. What time is it currently in Sydney? Let's see. Current time, Sydney, Australia. What time is it? It is currently 4:36 p.m. That's a good time to fight. 5 in the afternoon, that's a pretty good time. If you can sleep in, you know. Hamzat needs to beat his immune system pre-fight. We got a lot of jokes tonight, huh? Got a lot of jokes in the chat. I think DDP is a harder challenge for Chimaev. Well, we'll see how they perform tonight, won't we? Making some judgments about that. I can't wait to talk about that in the post-fight show. That's going to be sick. And I'll tell you what, like, there's no way. Okay, famous last words. It is unlikely that this fight, whatever version we get here, will be more exciting than whatever we get from the winner of this one versus Hamzat. I think some of the poo-pooing around this fight has been a little strong. Again, it is one of the versions we could get now in just a few minutes. A really terrible, boring fight. Yes, of course it is. I mean, again, famous last words in that direction too. But I really feel like there's a decent chance we're going to get something not quite like that. Something like the last one for sure, but maybe turned up a little bit. All right. Yeah, DDP in the he's from Welcome, South Africa. Welcome to South Africa. One of 8 South African fighters in UFC history. Again, my favorite South African fighting story, I've told this one many times, but it really is truly a remarkable moment, is when Trevor Prangley, a white South African, fought Yuki Kondo. And I think this was in Philly for Bodog fight. I think maybe New Jersey, somewhere in New Jersey. I forget. And the crowd chanted USA, USA, USA for Trevor Prangley. Not because he was American, but because they assumed he was American because he was white. Yeah, USA. I'm from Johannesburg. All right. There he is, DDP, psyching himself up. All right. He is stomping his way into the octagon. Looking like a goofball. A dangerous goofball. A dangerous goofball. DDP's game-bredness is underrated. He's got competitive fire. I wouldn't even call it gameness. Gameness is pursuit of the fight despite the physical consequences. That's really not necessarily him, but he is certainly filled with, and he, as we said in the Marine Corps, he's full of vinegar and piss. He's a tough customer, dude. He's always got belief in himself. He's always finding ways to find. Dude, he just finds offense. In this sport, this is the problem with Sean Strickland's style. This is less true in boxing. Defense is critically important, but it's not as important as as offense in MMA. Hold on, here's your tail of the tape. 1 second, I'll just show it for just a brief. 31 for du Plessis, 33 for Strickland, the same height, same weight, obviously, same reach. 220 favorite for DDP. All right, here's Bruce wearing the I don't know, what would you call that tuxedo? Okay, so your judges, Ben Cartilage, who is the best in the business, Sal D'Amato, who is the opposite, and then Clemens Werner, who can be hit or miss. So Let's hope Ben saves us. They're doing some bullshit announcement for a movie. All right. DDP with a fresh haircut. All right, they brought down the lights. For folks who don't know this, UFC didn't used to do this. They took this from Strikeforce. Strikeforce was the one that did this. Here is Sean Strickland. He is a plus 180 underdog, according to our friends over at DraftKings. He is 5-2 as a dog, UFC dog. If Sean is compromised in some way, does he go for broke early? Big if, obviously. Gigantic if. But if he is, does he? Does he try to put the heat on early and force DDP into a mistake? There he is. There's the champ, at least for now. We shall see. And y'all know my views. Sean Strickland, not my guy necessarily, but all I know is this. This sport is difficult. It can be routinely unfair. If he is the better guy, he deserves to win tonight, and I have zero problem with that. Always the winner should be the person who deserves it truly, unequivocally, right? As Dustin Poirier would say, whatever the number is, 25 minutes to make life fair. It is a really important way to think about it. DDP is feeling himself. All right. Here's the face-off. They touch gloves. Sean looks nervous. Got a bullet hole in his arm. Jesus. Okay, here we go. Round number 1 coming up. Try to get this right. Boy, they give Nina good seats. Here we go. Round 1. All right. DDP opens, jabbing, switching stances. Let's see what he does with it. So last time early in the fight, that jab hook combo from Strickland was very effective for him. DDP kind of kicks that backhand. Decent leg kick from DDP. Sean definitely on the front foot, stepping through into him. You know, obviously carefully, but he's on the gas here a little bit. I don't think it did a lot of damage, but that head kick landed for DDP. Calf kick from DDP. I'm not sure if it was checked or not. Nice leg kick from DDP. Another one. Both guys exchanged punches. Nothing really got through for either, but it got a little close. Sean's really not landed anything of significance yet. Turning back kick for DDP goes nowhere. Looked like a hook jab, a hook cross combo from DDP misses. DDP just kind of doing a little bit more through the first half of this round. This is looking like the first fight pretty closely, if I do say so myself. Good body shot from Sean Strickland. Turning back kick again from DDP. This one makes contact but blocked. You could see same thing DDP did in the first fight. Fakes up high, gets Sean to start cross-stepping backwards and then goes to the leg kick. It's a common strategy. Or I should say common tactic. Good jab from Strickland. Sean Strickland's starting to get a little bit trickling through here. A little bit. Ooh. Sean did a good job getting that left hand up and rotating off to his right to block that right hand from DDP. God, DDP just explodes into position. Boy, these kicks on the right side of Sean Strickland, that's so far been that, and the leg kicking has been the most important thing DDP has done. Trying to keep that right hand holstered, obviously, for Strickland. When DDP throws it that way, he's trying to go low then high, high then low. Oh, good shot. Here comes that blitz. Can't get anything going, coming wide with it rather than coming up the middle. I mean, that was the first fight. That was round 6 of the first fight, if we can call that honestly. Okay. I'm not judging it, so like I'm just trying to go off memory. It felt like DDP did a little bit better. Let me hear Eric Nixick. Feint the jab, stick the right hand. Yeah, that's good advice. More volume and pace. That's Eric Nixick knows what the fuck he's talking about. So I don't have to say much there. Shout out to Chisora. My man was out there giving the audience his all. Yes, he was. Shouts to that man. Hamza's going to run through both of them. He might, even though he is limited. I hope we see something new. All right, well, round 2's coming up. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Round 2. Mine's going to be a little bit behind. Sean doing the high knees and then, front kick bit. Like he's trying to walk through quicksand. Let's see if DDP mixes it up and wrestles this round. Body kick. These body kicks for DDP have been just the kicking game in general, but the body kicks have been noteworthy on his side. Outside leg kick from du Plessis. Oh, here come the woos. Dude, the United States is just making Australia stupid. Oof. Right hand from Strickland. It partially blocked, but not completely. Good jab from Strickland. Really good. Man, it's just trench warfare all over again. You go, I go. You go, I go. Dude, if Strickland ends up on the bad end of a split decision here, and it just looks like this for the rest of the fight, he's got absolutely nobody to fucking blame. Nice shot from DDP. Oh, good shot from Strickland. Getting DDP to overcommit. That was nice. Nice combo. There we go. Open it up a little bit. Good. Sean is bleeding somewhere around his chin. I can't tell if it's from the mouth or not. It does not appear from the nose. Oh, good right hand from DDP. Damn, they give Nina good-ass seats, don't they? That must be nice. Oof. Oy. DDP with that head kick again, blocked, but he's then inside leg kick, that sort of cut kick that he throws. Again, I'm really not sure what busted open Strickland's face. I don't recall anything super significant landing. Semi-checked kick. DDP attempted. Dude, DDP went wide in the last fight with these fights with punching lanes like this. And Sean Strickland is very good about rolling here, right? And he didn't put anything up the middle. He's still coming wide. That's a choice. I mean, it'd be one thing if you're trying to elicit that, but then you got to go to the body at the end of the combo, not the beginning. They say du Plessis has 23 significant strikes. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Another close-ass round. That's Ben Cartilage right there on the. He just off screen. DDP's just trying to throw a bunch of volume, and it's got Sean defending a lot here. He did have some good. He scored a bunch of good ones in that round. Fucking hell, man. What do we think, guys? What do we think? I think DDP won. I mean, they're giving him 28 significant strikes. These tallies, you have to double check them. Okay, so significant strikes. They're saying 17 and 28 here. I'm going to take a screenshot. Oh, I missed it. 17 and 28. Let's see when the fight is over when we look at the uploaded stats, if that matches it, because sometimes there could be a discrepancy between them. Yeah, that body kick was nice. Does Sean look scared? No, but he doesn't look fired up. He looks flat to me. Like, he doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he looks bad. A little flat, but it's still pretty close. It's not like any of these rounds are like dominant ass whoopings. All right, here we go. Round 3. Good check, good block. Both by Sean Strickland. I mean, this is their essential. This is the way they match up. Most of what DDP throws doesn't get through, but he's the one being offensive, and this defensive-oriented guy in Sean Strickland, he blocks 90% of it. I mean, I don't know if it's that much, but it seems like that much. Oh, good right hand from DDP gets through a little bit. But it's like, dude, just look at what they're doing. Who's attacking, who's defending. And I know that's not the way you're supposed to judge, but I'm just saying, if you end up on the bad end of a split decision again, whose fault is that? I don't get it, man. Unless he's sick and the staph infection thing is fucking him up. I don't know. Good combo from Sean Strickland there. That was nice. Body to the head, right hand to the body, left hook to the head. And that was good. Ooh, right hand over the top from DDP. Leg kick, semi-checked. Look at him catch that punch. Here's what fucking kills me about Strickland's situation. Dude, what would you say is his strategy? And what I mean by that is not generally. I mean in this fight. You know what I mean? Like, what would you say is the signature attack he appears to want to get going? I don't know how to answer that. Because you can answer that with DDP. I mean, it's the name of the game for him in this fight has been the kicking. Right? Good shot. Good right hand by Sean Strickland there. He landed that one. It's been volume, it's been activity, and it's the kicking game for DDP thus far that has been really the good right hand from him. That has been what you could remember and is clearly what he's trying to build upon, and then find ways to knock on the door. Good jab to the body from DDP. This fight's going to go the full 25, isn't it? Good jab from Sean. Good check from Sean. Good semi-good combo from Sean. Up jab, up cross. Oi, spinning back elbow from DDP. Oh, they're just swinging wildly now. I mean, this fight kind of, it doesn't suck. That's not quite right, but it looks to me thus far that DDP learned a lesson from the first fight And Strickland, for the most part, hasn't. Now, he's landing some good stuff in this round. Oh, there's the wrestling. Boom, doubles him back. So he's going to try and wrap. He's going to get behind. Let's see. Good job by Sean Strickland standing up right away. There's the first bit of wrestling from DDP. I wonder if he'll go back to it in round 4. So it looks like Sean is cut right here. That's an interesting place to get cut. Did you hear Nixick? You're doing the same shit as last fight. It's all predictable. It's not my imagination. Is anybody giving him any of the rounds? I can't think of any other fighter whose in-fight style so widely different from their presented personality. Fedor's the opposite. Fedor is like, calm, and then he's feral in the thing. Fight him, Sean. I think Sean might be pretty affected by that staph infection. Just step behind and not as sharp. I mean, that's the way it kind of looks. I swear it feels like Sean fights Wing Chun in MMA. It kind of looks that way. All right, here we go. Round 4. All right. Round 4. Championship rounds here. I guess let's see what happens. I mean, his corner is telling him exactly what we talked about on MK on Friday. You can't be, dude, you can be a defense first fighter, but you got to fine tune it just right. And if you're this defensively oriented, it's going to be tough to win fights, man, against really good guys anyway. I mean, obviously, against, lesser competition, maybe not, but against the fucking champion, it's going to be tough. Nice jab from DDP, gets through. Body shot from DDP. Dude, DDP just leaps over the top of someone's guard and tries to punch them that way. Right hand from DDP. Looks like it. Oh, that landed. That landed. Sean's in retreat and there's blood coming out. Oh, I think he broke his nose. It looks like DDP came. Here I am talking shit about his punches, and they fucking work every time. He came over the top, and it looks like his nose is fucked up. Sean Strickland's nose is fucked up. It looks like that thing's about to start pouring blood. This is what I mean, dude. He's just always attacking. Dude, nobody teaches you to jump and fucking come over the guard like that. That's almost like unheard of. But this fucking guy makes it work. Dude. Sean firing back a little bit. DDP on the front foot now, buddy. Oh, my God, dude. Dude, DDP is all over him. Du Plessis doing some big breathing, but we all know that doesn't necessarily mean much. Dude, I cannot believe this guy fucking jumping fucking Superman tomahawk punches his way over the top of somebody's guard. But you know what? That's actually pretty fucking effective, because what is Sean Strickland doing the whole time? Right? You kind of gotta adapt and overcome. I mean, the results speak for themselves, man. Unbelievable. Oh, a couple good shots here from Sean Strickland as DDP gets a little reckless, and another good jab from him. And then another good, semi-good right hand. Oh, big right hand from DDP. They both dipped their heads and clash. I don't think anything bad came from it. Sean looking at the clock. That's a terrible sign. There's 140 left in the round, Bubba. Oh, Right hand from DDP as Sean's getting closer and closer to the fence. The retreating stops, right? You see, DDP did it again, trying to come over the top of the guard like that. That is not something that any striking coach is going to tell you, like leaving your feet like that. They're really not going to tell you, but is that the right kind of strike for DDP against an opponent like this? I would humbly submit to you the evidence. Unbelievable, man. Every time you think I've been watching this sport fucking forever, and there's always something that is new and weird and twisted and cool and bizarre. Every year. It never changes in that way. DDP kind of walking into stuff, but Sean is on the back foot now. He was on the front foot, at least. Oh, another big right hand from DDP. Oh, man. You know, it's not like Sean's taking a beating, but if he were, and he would, you know, and he's probably down at this point and could be all 4 rounds, and in all likelihood, probably all 4 rounds. Again, he's not getting beat up, but if he was, I'd consider pulling him after this. I mean, he's not showing you a lot of life, is he? Body shot from DDP. Well, now this one is starting to become academic. Winging shot from Sean Strickland. Decent jab from him. Yeah, that's DDP's round, and then some. So, boys and girls, here we are heading into round 5. Sean Strickland's face is a mess. He had that staph infection. I mean, that thing's a staph infection. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's a staph infection on his arm. Yeah, you need to intercept combinations. Dude, this is... Remember when I talked about he has to learn how to retreat and stop and then find offense like Sean O'Malley does? So when the guy is pursuing, you're going during their combination. I mean, dude, it's not like they don't know what to do. That team knows what to do. Sean Strickland probably knows what to do. I'm sure he knows what to do. And by the way, he was standing between rounds. It looked like he sat there. If he doesn't get a stoppage here, that's over for him. It's over. And if he doesn't get a stoppage here, this just might be his last round in a title fight. Damn, bro. They reset his nose just right there. That is painful as fuck. Imagine you have to fly back from Australia to the United States with a broken nose. That is going to be not fun. DDP doing a good job of harassing the forward stepping, the balance, the stance of Strickland with these front kicks. All the kicking that he's done, but right now these. Sean reacting real bad to some of these punches. Oh, right hand from DDP sneaks through. Dude, it looks like one guy is like one guy has been told not to go. Look how relaxed DDP's corner is. Good stick to the body by DDP. Dude, even when Strickland landed it, he didn't follow up on it. I'm going to suspect that whatever he had, from the way his muscle tone looks to that bullet wound, staph infection on his arm and everything else, it fucked him all up. And he's just doing his best. It just seems that way. He may not give an excuse, so that may not be what he says afterwards. Oof. Oof. DDP's got to watch that choke. All right, about halfway through here. Oh, man. Sweeping shots to the body. There's that leap over the top of the guard again. Did you see that? I got to tell you, this fight, it under-delivered for me. It clarified things, which I appreciate. It definitely clarified some things. I think DDP learned the right lessons. He's the rightful champ. You know, I thought Sean won the first time, but, you know, it's tough to score a fight like that in real time. But one guy was ready for tonight. One guy wasn't. And maybe Sean Strickland's issue, he ate a body kick from DDP, is the fact that he's been ill. You know, it's obviously entirely possible. But this was a languid and lesser performance than the first fight. Damn, his face looks like a fucking crime scene, man. Nice leg kick from DDP. It's interesting, you know, the first fight, Sean claimed it was an accidental headbutt, and it was that opened up that cut. But he was like, "Oh, the judges got a bad look at things because, you know, of this. Like, I got some bad luck." But what would you call this, dude? Like, I mean, getting staff at the time of the fight is obviously bad luck. But in terms of like what happened in the fight itself, like, there's nothing bad luck about it. Yeah, I mean, look at these numbers. Strickland had more in round 4, but aren't they the quality ones? All right, less than 30 seconds left. Let's see if these donks do anything interesting. Sean on the front foot. Credit to Sean for gutting it out, man. I you know, that can't be easy. Takedown, single leg misses. Sean pulls it out. 10 seconds. Here we go. Oh, big shot. Both of them swinging. And that's ball game. Yeah, DDP's going to retain. Neither of these title fights had any drama. None. Neither of them had any drama. Zip. Now, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to the post-fight show. I'm going to put up a little banner so none of you miss it. We're going to hear them speak. We're going to get the decision. We're going to hear the winner and loser speak. And then we're going to get the post-fight show started. Most people think DDP won these rounds. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, we'll talk about it in the post-fight show. We'll talk about it in the post-fight show. Sean just looked, I don't know, like a lesser version of himself. Oof, that spinning back fist was nice. Spinning back elbow was nice too. Yeah, dude, DDP's got offense and like, who won here? Who won here in the main and the co-main? We'll talk about in the post-fight show, but both fighters who have numerous ways to win, like they had a more varied offense and a more consistent and like useful offense. They win. Sean has very good defense, but that's just not that helpful, man. Let's see how they score it. I would say 50-45 and then 49-46 are acceptable for DDP, obviously. Here we go. There it is. 2 50-45s, 149-46. Dricus du Plessis retains. With this title defense, Dricus ties Rich Franklin for 2 middleweight title defenses. So him and Rich are, I think, the only ones who have 2 in the middleweight division. Weidman has 3, Izzy 5, Anderson 10. All right, here is DC and Dricus. Who's asking him, how satisfying is it to win this rematch? Yeah, he's just saying all the normal stuff. Okay, he's asking about why wasn't there wrestling in this fight? Yeah, he's not saying much. They're saying, like, I tried to make it a wrestling match or make him make it a wrestling match. Didn't work. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, he's talking to Poatan. Is there no one else? Is there no one else? All right, they're gonna look at the big screen. Boom. Look, you see that punch over the guard? Isn't that fucking amazing? And then he rolls underneath the hook. Bah. See, it caught him behind here, though, with a flat surface, so it's not as good. Yeah, BC getting on the screen. They like BC. I don't think they like me too much. All right, now he's thinking South Africa. All right, let's hear from Sean Strickland. This is the more interesting one to me. Okay, here's Sean. He broke his nose. Yep. And that's it. All right, he thanks them all for, coming and support and all that bullshit. Okay. All right. I believe we're ready. Okay. With that in mind, let me get these tweets up so that I can get the people to attend the post-fight show. Here we go. All right. Let me quote tweet this. Whoop, whoop. Post-fight show starts now. Join me. Okay. Let's do this. Let's reset here for a second. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Luke Thomas. It is currently 1:20 in the morning, East Coast time. here in Los Estados Unidos. UFC 312 is in the books. Let's talk about what we saw. Without further ado, let us get this party started. All right, UFC 312 is in the books, and I have to say, not a lot of drama for this one, if I do say so myself. Now, people were kind of down on the card with not bad reason. There was plenty of reason to be down on. I mean, the first 3 fights on the main card, I mean, some of them delivered some interesting action, but they were not appointment viewing. But the 2 fights at the top of the card, in the case of Zhang Weili taking on Tatiana Suarez, and now you just saw Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland. These are important because they're title fights for the division, and you kind of wonder what you might get from them. So let's talk about the main event first. As I pull up the notes here, let's get the stats up. That's the one I always want to see the most. Okay, here we go. All right, significant strikes per round. I want to pull that graphic up. I took a screenshot. Remember I told you guys, if you look at the numbers that they show on the screen during the fight itself, those are often very, very misleading. Okay? Here, let me pull this up here. So I want to edit this. Oh, Jesus, no, that one's no good. Is this one any better? Let's see. Oh, for fuck's sake, I don't have it. Well, that's that then. Never mind. I want to see if they matched. I'll go back and double check. I don't know if they will or not. Okay, but here we are. Let's get to it. The post-fight show starts now. UFC 312 took place at the Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney, Australia. In your main event, here we go. I'm assuming you don't want spoilers. Or, I'm sorry, that you don't care. Dricus du Plessis defeats Sean Strickland via unanimous decision. 2 50-45s, 1 49-46. Okay. He didn't really address it about whether or not he had a staph infection. It looked to me like he had a staph infection. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you it's a near certainty that he had a staph infection. The question is not whether he had one. The question is how recently he had it. Was he on medication for it? How long was he on medication for it? And what did it do to him? He did not mention that. He probably won't mention that. I think given the fact that he's got a broken nose, I don't even know if he's going to attend the post-fight press conference and talk about it. I don't know what kind of information we're going to get out of him. And again, even if he were to do that, I still don't exactly know what kind of information you would get out of him. This was a disappointing fight to me. Not because I didn't think it was, I mean, it was a little dull. It was a little dull, but not bad. It was, again, it was trench warfare all over again. That defensive style, it's forward moving, but it's defensively oriented from Sean Strickland. It causes this trench warfare. You go, I go. You go, I go. And it becomes hard to know like who's really doing the most, with some exception. A big shot to break someone's nose in round 4, that can do a lot. But also, if one guy's just not really throwing a lot and one person is just kind of catching and the other one's doing all the shooting, it becomes kind of obvious to tell like what's happening here. That is what you got here. What we had said, certainly what I had said, was if you watch the first fight, again, I've said it a million times, but just to reiterate, and by the way, if you want to get a question in, we'll do a Q&A portion here. Fire something into the super chat and we'll get it on the screen when we go through some of the fights at the end. So I appreciate everyone, thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't, all the fun stuff. Thank you so much. But the point was, we had said Sean Strickland's got this trench warfare style, and it's okay to have a defense first style, but you really, really, really have to fine tune it in a sport where ring generalship, stuff like that, doesn't really count first. It may not even count at all. Because what really counts in MMA is damage. Boxing is not scored that way. And by the way, one championship, they count defending takedowns as like offensively rewarding points, essentially. They that's offense to them, which you can have a conversation about it, but that's not the way it works in the 10-point must system. And it looks to me like it is finally, again, if he was compromised, I don't know what else to say. If Sean had some illness, some injury, some combination of it, you got a lesser version of what he was, capable of at the high end. His physique didn't look great to me. I mean, it wasn't like some bum or something, but he looked razor sharp for the first one. He did not look necessarily razor sharp for this one. He had a bit of a languid attitude, and this was a lesser performance on the first one, because what we had said was, if you just look at the first one, he does the cross-stepping pull-out retweets, or I'm saying retreats. I apologize. He does the retreating cross-stepping on the way out. And, he catches everything here, and he catches it there, and he pulls. And that's great, because if you care about defense as the most important thing, in order to land something of significance, your head cannot be behind your hips. It has to be all kind of balanced. Yeah, of course, you can play with it a little bit, but you got to be balanced to throw. You have to be rooted to throw. And if you're constantly cross-stepping out, if you're backing up like that, it is very good for defense. It is super good for defense. Look at all the stuff he blocks. Look how hard it is to get through. But what is a better position to throw from? This one, where I'm standing, this one, or this way? The answer is quite obvious. You have to be rooted to throw. So I thought for sure you saw some evidence of him beginning to turn the dial up a little bit on that. Not so much in the DDP fight, the first one itself, but in the Costa fight that came after that. And that wasn't perfect either, but it was a little bit better. There wasn't these long retreats. It was a little bit of a retreat, stand your ground a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. So they learned the right lesson. And then you heard Eric Nicksick tonight. If not the best coach in the sport, certainly on the short list, top 3, top 5 at worst, saying to him exactly that. You're doing the same shit from the last fight. It's becoming too predictable. I need more offense from you. Punch through his combinations, right? All the stuff that we had talked about, all of it. They knew the assignment. This was not lost on them. Sometimes you watch these fights, even UFC title fights, and you'll see, it's their first fight at that level or whatever, and they get a little deer in the headlights and they forget what they're supposed to do, and the whole thing kind of gets to them. That's not this. Or, it's a smaller team and they just didn't game plan right and they didn't know how to prepare. That's not them. This is a world-class team. Sean's a former champion. He has fought at this point, numerous title fights. He's an experienced, highly decorated fighter with arguably the best coach. And oh, by the way, Poatan and everybody else in his corner, like, they knew the assignment. You could hear that. You could hear it in Nick Sick's voice. And Sean simply couldn't pull it off today. I don't know how to keep speculating on the illness without really knowing exactly to what extent it limited him. But all I can say is, what did we watch? We watched a lesser version of the first fight, unfortunately for Sean. Dricus, to me, took what he did in the last fight and simplified it a little bit and then turned it up a little bit. And I want to talk about him because that goofy bastard, he is a winner. We'll get to him in just a second. But to me, the story is not so much that DDP looked way better than last time. He looked modestly better. And modestly is enough. Modestly is not some criticism you have to completely, oh my God, how was he not like a million times better? You don't need to be a million times better. Small adjustments at this level of the game yield many times gigantic results. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just got to tweak it. And that was what Sean Strickland was up against. He didn't need to reinvent his style, but he did need to tweak it. You didn't get that. You didn't get that. You simply did not get that. You didn't get those tweaks. And it wasn't because he's not a talented fighter. It wasn't because he's not an experienced fighter. And it certainly is not the case that they didn't game plan around this. Eric Nicksick made it fucking clear that they knew. Either Sean he couldn't pull it off. He was sick. I don't know. But relative to the first fight, this was a step down for him. This was a step down. As I mentioned on the broadcast, the one we just did here, the stream, he is 33 years old in 11 months. He's 34. He's not over the hill by any stretch. But he had sat out a long time for this one. Let's actually talk about Sean's level of activity here if we can. So Sean fought a bunch in 2021. He fought, two times in 2021. I apologize. But in 2022, he fought 3 times. In 23, he fought 3 times. In 24, twice. That's pretty good. But the last one of those was in June, so you hadn't seen him in quite some time. And then he came out for this one, and he just got soundly beat. He got soundly beat. I want to look at these numbers because I want to compare them to the last fight. So in this fight, let's show it to you. In this fight, this is tonight. The numbers you're looking at here, this is UFC 312. Dricus du Plessis, 111 of 97. If we go back to this one, this is the first fight. Here's the first fight. First of all, look at the first fight. 173 out of 408 for Sean. He's 97 out of 201 here. I mean, a gigantic dude. He nearly dropped off 50 fucking percent. That's a nearly 50% decline. Not quite, but pretty fucking close. Guys, I mean, need I say more? He needed not junk volume, but he needed more core offense in this fight, and he got overall a near 50% reduction. You are not going to beat a championship level UFC fighter reducing your offense by 50% relative to the first fight. It cannot be done. Not with the kind of style that they're doing. Holy shit, that is a monster drop-off. First fight, here, let's go back to it. First fight. This is the first fight you're looking at here, right? So this is 297. Du Plessis, 137. He had 111 here. So it's a drop-off for him, too, at a 250, a total 252. Yeah, I mean, look at that. 358 in the first one. Neither of them was really all that active. They give Du Plessis a little bit here. They credit him with the one takedown and 5 seconds of control time, essentially worthless. But I cannot believe the numbers on Sean Strickland. He attempted last time 419 total. It was 252 here. Not quite a 50% reduction. He landed 183 the first time. He landed 113 here, 70 strikes less. But this is the big one. 173 of those were significant strikes in the first fight. Dude, he landed 97. 97. You can't beat good fighters. You know, I'm not saying anything Sean doesn't know. I'm not saying anything you guys don't know. I'm certainly not saying anything Eric Nixick and DDP don't know, but that is, holy shit, that is a decline that game over. Game over. Let's look at some of the targeting here. This is tonight's fight. This is the targeting. This is where they were aiming, whether they made it or not. Du Plessis, look at that, mixing it up, almost a third in every category. Nothing really to the leg from Sean Strickland. 70% nearly to the head, 20% and change to the body. Let's look at the first one. So this the colors changed, right? So Du Plessis is red here. This is tonight. So this is tonight at 32% for Du Plessis. Du Plessis was 59% last time to the head, 32 tonight, 23 to the body last time, a little higher, 28, but he went 38% to the leg, just 17 last time, right? So here is one big change. Du Plessis mixing up targets, chucking, mixing up. Just finding offense where it was available by multiplying the targeting. By contrast, here we go. Sean Strickland, this is tonight. Sean Strickland, 68% to the head, 23% to the body. He was 90% to the head last time. Now, I don't know that diversifying strikes in the way that he did is necessarily bad for him, but it just didn't service his interest. It doesn't matter how much you vary your targeting if your volume falls off a cliff. Right? Oh, I had a more diverse set of targets. That's great. But you fired and landed 50% or roughly 50% less. Dude, it's ball game. It's ball game. So I don't think there's much analysis beyond what we've said about Strickland in this one. Again, this was the first one. Dude, this is so unbelievable to me. Look at this. Dricus gets it. Here, let's update this one more time. Oh, wait, you know what? I'm sorry. Apologies, everyone. Apologies. We have to go back here. Let's pull this up. They hadn't finished loading up the numbers yet. Hold on. We have to go back here. Are these the full numbers now? Yes. Now we have the full numbers. Okay. Let's refresh that one more time. Now we have the full numbers. Okay. So the drop-off isn't as bad. Here is tonight's fight. 128 he landed. On the other night, he landed 173. So it's still a drop-off of about 50 strikes, but it's not the 50% like gigantic one. I apologize, everyone. I was waiting for, I'm going to go back here in just a second. I was waiting for Fight Metric to upload everything. Now it appears everything is uploaded. I apologize for the error. I can only react to what they give me in real time. So there you go. Okay, let's go back and look at the numbers here one more time to make sure I'm not giving you fake news. Tonight, Strickland 128. He landed significant strikes. The previous night, 173. Du Plessis 147. So he had more than Sean Strickland. First of all, that changes the equation. And he had 137 last time. So he had just 10 more significant strikes that landed ultimately, but he had more than Sean this time. It flipped. He had 20 more than him. And that appears to have made the difference. He gets credited for one of 2 takedown attempts. And go back and look at it doesn't change much with the targeting. You still see the same, that part didn't change. Du Plessis still doing a good job of essentially going a third in terms of head, body, and leg. They're going there. Okay, so the good news for Sean, the numbers didn't fall off a cliff as I had initially read the data. The updated data tells us that it did decline. The general tenor of the argument is still the same. His offense declined to the point where not only DDP had more, but he himself had less than he had last time by an order of 50 strikes. Same argument. You can't do that. With the whole goal was not necessarily you have to land more than DDP exactly, but you had to turn up the offense, and they turned it down. You can't win that way. You can't win. You just can't win. You can't do it. It won't happen for you. Not at this level of the fight game. Now, with that in mind, can we talk about DDP for a second? As I mentioned, if you're just joining us, this is DDP's second title defense. That ties him with Rich Franklin among all middleweight champions in UFC history for title defenses. Chris Weidman has 3. Izzy has 5. Anderson has 10. We're a long way from Izzy and Anderson, but this puts him in the company of Rich Franklin. That is very, very special. Rich Franklin was a very, very good fighter who had some phenomenal wins and beat some quality opponents. DDP has now put his name right next to his. I think we should take a moment to reflect on that. If you didn't follow the career of Rich Franklin, people kind of treat him like some sort of punchline or, oh, that's the guy that Anderson washed. Yeah, it is. It is the guy that Anderson washed, but like he beat the fuck out of a lot of people. He gave a lot of people in 2 weight classes a hard time, a real hard time. He was a champion, as I mentioned, 2 title defenses. DDP has now put his middleweight run on par with that. That alone is impressive. But I just have to say, in the middle of the fight, I was kind of clowning him for just a moment when he was doing these leaping punches where he was coming over the top. Because, I mean, again, with a Superman punch, there can be limited circumstances where you leave your feet. But my experience has been most striking coaches are going to, again, you want to mix things up or whatever. But for the most part, whether you're a bouncer or a step and a slider, to really get off good punching, to get off good punching mechanics, you need to be balanced. You have to be rooted. And here he is jumping over the top. But when you really think about it, that actually makes the most sense given who DDP is and what Sean Strickland was doing. If Sean is going to lean out of the way where he's like dabbing on the haters, right? If he's going to lean on the way where he's cross-stepping into these retreats, how do you get through to him? You can go to the body, of course. You can do more traditional stuff. DDP just kind of comes over the top of it like a fucking pro wrestler jumping off the top turnbuckle. Not something that most striking coaches are going to teach or recommend or say is the right move. Far from it. But what happened? He broke that fucking guy's nose. And that, I mean, the fight was kind of already in hand, but then that really sealed it. That really sealed it. Dude, that's a smart adaptation by DDP. It's not without risk. It is hardly traditional, but it fucking works, and it was brutal. That's the DDP experience. I've not seen coaches teach it. It's risky as fuck, but you smashed his face and you retained his title. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And it blows my mind how everyone, he fits no conventional model in so many respects, and yet it matters seemingly not at all. Now, whether or not that will matter when he runs into the buzzsaw that I think is in front of him, which we'll talk about in just a second, I don't know. But take a moment here. If you're like me, you've been wrong about DDP before. Now, I thought he was going to win tonight, or I thought I had a good chance anyway to win tonight. And so this is not necessarily all that surprising that he did this, but this is such an encapsulating moment of like what makes him such a fucking winner. He had to grind that out for 25 minutes because that wasn't easy. He had to throw and throw and throw and throw and throw. You had to constantly get after it, constantly just, half of it's getting, more than that, a gazillion of it, percentage of it is getting blocked and you can't get through and the whole thing's a fucking mess, right? But you're finally getting through, you're doing the better work. It's just, it's just tough. It's a hard slog. And then you just try the things that make you, the spinning stuff and the weird stance switches and, whatever, all the different things that you guys have noticed that he does that is just not very, very traditional in that typical sense. And he just keeps finding success with it. It works so well for him. It is physical. It is brutal. It is in your face. It is, jagged and has weird timing. And again, he's leaving his feet to kind of like almost like dunk over the top of Sean's guard. But look at the results. He knows who he is. He knows what works for him. His coaches seemingly have a very good sense of who he is and what works for him and how to bring it all to bear. And you get adaptations like that, again, you would never recommend that for virtually any other opponent you might have in the UFC. But for DDP against this opponent, he can break these rules of conventionality without, again, I'm not going to say it won't breaking rules of conventionality will eventually catch up to you, but it doesn't even really matter at this point that it does. The guy's already tied Rich Franklin for middleweight title defenses. Like, you're talking now about DDP. Again, we have to be very careful about this, but we're talking about one of the best middleweights ever. That's not a crazy thing to say. Not at this point. Again, you could put him wherever you want. You could put Anderson 1. You could put Izzy 2. You could put Weidman 3. And you can even put Rich 4 or somebody else from a different organization or, whatever, somebody who wasn't necessarily a UFC champion but was still good at 185. Fuck, you could even throw in Murillo Bustamante into that conversation as far as I care. I'm just pointing out he's in that conversation right around there. That's fucking insane, man. That's insane for a guy who if you're just examining the normal contours of what you expect, doesn't fill any of them or very few of them. But he's physical, he's prepared, he's full of confidence, in your face, he'll take risks, and he might look a little goofy doing it, but look at the fucking results. And again, it's the perfect strategy if a guy is going to lean and put his hands out to come over the top. It's just how easy is that to land? That's probably pretty hard to land. I would imagine most people trying to punch over the arms vertically of another guy, you have to leave your feet to kind of go do it. That's actually going to be hard to land. Even if you land, you're not rooted to the ground. Like, there's all kinds of problems that can happen with that. And he still managed to break the fucking guy's nose. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what he can achieve. Let's talk about what's next. He looked like he wanted a piece of Poatan, but I don't know how that's going to go. You can do that fight, of course, one of two ways. You can have him go up to 205 and do a champ fight at 205, which is what I think Poatan wants, or you can get Poatan to try and cut back down to make 185. That fight makes more sense in the way that Poatan technically used to be a 185er. More than that, he was a champion. Yes, he used to be a 185er. And obviously this is a 185er in Dricus, so just make it there at 185. But of course, I don't even know if he can make it down there. I don't even know if that's a good idea. I especially don't think it's a good idea because Dricus has a big punch. As you can do, Dricus was flying through the fucking air like crouching tiger, hidden dragon, and then smashing Sean Strickland's face to pieces doing that. Like, that's going to be a tough fight for Poatan, not because he's not obviously insanely skilled, but the weight cut would really diminish his capacity to absorb damage. I don't know how much interest I have in that. So for those reasons, while that's an intriguing fight, I don't really care about that one being next. The next one is the showdown with Hamzat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where all the questions get answered. How good is Khamzat at 185? Can he control DDP like he controls everyone else? Can DDP's reckless style really work against somebody who makes opponents pay for any kind of mistake? Obviously, more on the ground than any place else, but especially early. You saw what he did to you. Fucking name it, who he's done it to. It's unbelievable. That is where the rubber is going to meet the road big time. And I have a feeling that the winner of that fight, by the way, if it's DDP, he will tie Chris Weidman for 3 title defenses, which would firmly make him tied, or at least, in the conversation for 3rd best UFC middleweight ever. Or if Khamzat wins, there might be some kind of rematch. Well, I don't know how that will go, but he might be the next big thing in this division as well. And then you might get a super fight up at 205, depending on how that all goes. I think that is the real Super Bowl at 185 that awaits us. The Poatan thing is interesting. Please don't misunderstand me, but I don't think it works out all that well. The Khamzat waiting in the wings, that's the one. And you might say, oh, I really want to see the Sean Strickland fight. Dude, again, I don't know what was wrong with Sean Strickland tonight, but based on what you saw tonight, is that really the best fight you can get? That might be the ugliest grudge match between them and DDP. Yeah, I don't know if the DDP Khamzat fight is going to have the ugliness and the grudge match of it all. I guess we'll see whether or not DDP will make fun of him for, your dad doesn't love you. Oh, well, okay, that's a horrible thing to say to somebody. I don't know how that's going to go, but it would have been more fun to have it with Sean. Certainly, we can all agree with that, but it doesn't even matter anymore. That is the gunfight, ladies and gentlemen. DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev for the UFC middleweight title. Motherfucking book it. That's the one. That's the one. And I really can't wait to see it because Khamzat seems unstoppable, but DDP is the guy that makes all of your assumptions about the fight game, sets him on fire, takes a shit in your front yard and then lights the bag on fire and then asks you to go stomp it out, and it just ends up making you look bad. That's really what he does. It's fucking insane. I cannot wait to see that fight. By the way, 2 physical guys as well. They both have in their own way physical styles. So in the end, you kind of got what we had said. Again, some of the numbers I got early, I apologize for getting wrong, but I won't show them to you again. You can get the idea. I'll update it one more time to make sure there's been nothing else added, just to make sure. No, same ones. Dricus du Plessis, 147 total significant strikes. Sean Strickland, 128. It's not so much the quantitative total is the numeric. Excuse me. It's not so much that the quantitative total is the qualitative total, but rather that the quantitative total speaks to some of the broader strokes of what you saw in the fight. We shall see where they go from here. Let's talk about that co-main for just a little bit if we can. I want to pull up the numbers on this one too. Oh my God. All right, let's make sure we got all the rounds here loaded up. Dude, look at these fucking numbers. Holy shit balls. Tatiana Suarez landed a total of 12 significant strikes. She went 1 for fucking 15 on takedown attempts. Are you kidding me? She got blanked. Almost out there. 6% conversion on takedown. She is credited with no subs. She did have the 5 minutes of control time, 3 of which came in that first round. That was the best round for her. I thought that was the one that you could give to her if you really wanted. And that's it. Dude, look at these anemic ass numbers for Tatiana Suarez. 0 significant strikes in round 1. 0 significant strikes in round 2. 8 in round 3. That's better. 0 for 5 on takedowns. 3 in round 4. No takedowns in this round because she spent most of the time on her back. Look at the control time for Zhang Weili here. 4:27 in round 4. And then just 1. Guys, in 3 rounds, granted it's a 5-round fight, in 3 rounds, she landed 1 significant strike total. She has had, Tatiana Suarez, so many setbacks with injury. We talked about it on the stream. We talked about it on MK. We talked about it on this channel many times. She was supposed to have in 2024 the Amanda Lemos fight, and it fell through. She was supposed to have the Virna Jandiroba fight, and it fell through. And in retrospect, she should have had to prove she could beat those fighters before she got here. But the UFC wanted to do her a solid. They just put her to the front of the line, and it didn't make the most sense from a meritocratic standpoint. But as I have said, I actually thought it was the right call. I still think it was the right call to at least go on a fact-finding mission and see what you've got. Well, now you know. Now you know. That is it. I mean, she was unprepared for the title level tonight. Is a very dude. If you're landing in 3 rounds, 0-0 and 1 significant strikes, you are unprepared for the championship level. That's just a fact of the matter. And maybe she also, like Sean, maybe she was injured. Maybe that thing she had on her knee really fucked her up. Let me pull up my thing here. I'll get to some of these numbers here in just a second. Dana White says that du Plessis' next opponent will be discussed on Tuesday, but agrees that Chimaev would be a big fight. Interesting. But yeah, getting back to Tatiana, I mean, just not ready for this level. Just absolutely 100%, no fucking way, not ready for this, or, for the championship opportunity anyway. There's not much to say there. This will be the end of the title hopes. I don't know where she goes from here. She might continue to fight. In fact, she probably will. But you have seen the limit. You have seen the limit. The injuries, the time off, it is unfortunate. I don't say any of this with any kind of glee. It brings me no joy to say. Tatiana, I've interviewed many times. She's a very, very kind and amiable person. She's an unbelievable worker. And I do think at a moment in time, she had something really cooking. But that time came and went. This is a brutal ass game. And you saw what is there now at age 34. That's the most you're going to get. And that wasn't even close to being enough. 1 for 15 on takedown attempts. 1 for 15. Dude, if your only offense comes from takedowns and you went 1 for 15, and in the round where you got a takedown, you had no significant strikes, I don't even know what to say to that. So the question is really about Zhang Weili and what this does for her. Let me pull this up here if I may. Okay, I want to see something here. Let me pull this. Here we go. So Zhang Weili has now 4 title defenses. Joanna Jędrzejczyk has 5. Rose had 2. But now Zhang Weili has 4. So that makes her the second best, by title defense anyway, makes her the second best women's strawweight champion of all time. Joanna sitting at number 1 with 5 of them, although I guess you could say Rose is better because since Rose beat her twice and so did Zhang Weili. It's up for debate. The point I'm trying to make is she's 1 away from tying the record for most title defenses in this weight class. She is phenomenal, age 35, and she didn't look like she missed a beat at all. Her takedown defense was on point, 14 of 15 stuffed. Getting up off the bottom was great. Attacking off the bottom if she needed to. Twisting takedown attempts that were going Suarez's way and reversing them mid journey to the mat to get top position. Better cardio, better scrambling, certainly on the feet, those multiple right hands rocking her. Dude, she looked fucking awesome. So if we're looking in that particular way, if we're looking at the rankings and to seeing what's next, I have a feeling I don't know if Dern is going to take the fight. I don't know how they would do that. She wanted more. Remember after her last win against Hebos in the rematch, she wanted more wins before they gave her a title shot. But I don't know how that's going to go. Zhang Weili, look at this. I'll show you the rankings. These will be updated over time. She is sitting at 1. Suarez was sitting at 1. Yan Xiaonan, they just did that one. They could do Virna, I guess. They could do Andrade, maybe, depending. Amanda, I don't know. I think they might go to Dern. They really might just they might just say, fuck it, and let's go to Dern. And, I don't know if Dern's ready for this or not. Your guess is as good as mine. But Zhang Weili, I counted her out. I didn't think she was going to look. You know what? Counted her out is a strong word in that sense. I didn't know what we were going to get from her because she had been so inactive. But she is arguably the second best strawweight in UFC history. She retains her title, as I mentioned. Now 4 title defenses, 1 away from tying the record. You're looking at one of the greats of this division's history. It's Rose, it's Joanna, and it's Zhang Weili. And Zhang is starting to put together a win streak that might have her knocking on the door of number 1 all time if she's not already. That's the kind of thing you're turning in here. By the way, I've got some numbers for this card from our friends. And it tells me attendance 18,253, which was a sellout. The gate was 7.7 million, a record gate for any Australian arena show. Wow. Dana White says we may have to find out who is better between Shevchenko and Zhang Weili. So we were going to say, and in the weight class, it's Dern, but that seems like it could be a little bit of a fast track. That could be too early. Zhang Weili taking on Shevchenko. They're both a little bit long in the tooth. That's another part. She's 35 years of age, Zhang Weili, and she turned in that kind of a performance, like never looking better. Amazing fucking job by her. And I don't know how she would match up with a good wrestler with good base in Shevchenko. That's a tough fight. But Shevchenko might welcome it. I don't know what they're supposed to do at strawweight until they can figure out who is the real top contender there and make some good use out of it. That might be the direction they go. And by the way, if she does that and it's non-title for her because it's up at, I mean, not her title's not up for grabs because she's going to be fighting for the 25 title. Even if she loses, her title reign is still intact in her normal weight class. Yeah. There's really not much to say about this fight. It was just one of those ones that was like kind of like a curiosity, a matchmaking curiosity. How might this go? If we give her a shot, what might this look like? And then you got it and you were like, oh, right. She was just not really ready for this in any capacity. She just, in terms of Tatian Suarez, she wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. She survived. That's about it. Survive, defend, attack. She attacked a little bit at first and then it was defending a lot. And then it was just fucking surviving. Just took the fight from her. Yeah, okay. So there's that. You had two champions who really set themselves apart from their divisions here, really showing you like they're the man right now or the woman, putting together the kinds of runs that make them the more elite version of what those champions have done in each of those respective divisions. But the fights were kind of dull, a little dull, and a little bit one-sided. For that reason, I don't know if fans are going to be happy about it. If we look at some of the other results here very quickly, I'll go through them. Taliesin Teixeira defeating Justin Tafa in 35 seconds. He just ran right through him, elbow off the clinch. Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato was a really bad fight. It was kind of fun at first. Bellato rescued himself. I'll give him credit there. But he loses 29-27 and then 220. Or excuse me, it's he didn't lose. That's fake news. It was a majority draw. 228-28 and then 129-27 for Jimmy Crute. And then Jake Matthews looked pretty good, defeating Francisco Prado. Just kind of had better striking and better combination work overall. Let's quickly, before we go to your questions, let's quickly talk about the Topuria brother. Alexander Topuria defeating Colby Thickness, 30-27 across the board. Not overwhelming, but on Thursday's live chat, you guys had asked me, hey, how good is he? And I'm like, well, there's really no way to know because he's beaten up guys who are 1-11. Like, I don't know what to make about that. But this guy, Colby Thickness, was not 1-11. He was, I think, 7 or so and 0. By the way, I thought he turned in a pretty commendable performance. Topuria looked pretty good. He looked very sound. He didn't make bad decisions. He didn't get hit with a lot of crazy stuff. He landed several good digs to the body. He landed a right hand. Thickness was trying to jab and then turn off the jab. He just kind of kept throwing it out there. So just like this, like that. So Topuria just timed the last one right over the top. Boom, got him. Nice shot. That suplex with the pin was sick. That was phenomenal that he got. But, the fight went the distance when maybe it didn't necessarily need to. There were several times where he had Thickness's back and he didn't really take it. He just kind of held it in like a gable grip from the tight waist. It wasn't, you would imagine in one of those positions, if Charles Oliveira had gotten that, he would have taken it like that. Not everyone can be Charles Oliveira, but for a jiu-jitsu black belt to not take the back like that, again, it's his UFC debut. He hadn't fought in I think a year or two. I thought it was a sound, precise, careful, but good performance. Not overwhelming. Oh my God, this is the next coming of Jesus or something. No, not that. Solid, precise, good decisions, got the W, looked strong for the most part doing it. I will say this about Colby Thickness. A lot of what he was doing was just not very effective, right? It just wasn't all that great or useful, but he just kept chipping away, and then would kind of find a little bit of opportunity here. Some stuff began to get through a little bit. Like that dude hustled excuse me, the entire fight. I really kind of appreciate that from him. That was a great effort from him in that particular way. So, you know, Topuria, the better guy by far. Thickness, we'll probably get another, I mean, great name. We'll probably get another opportunity somewhere else. I will say this, on the prelim card, the early prelims, Rongju defeating Cody Steele. Dude, Cody Steele is one of these BJJ phenoms who had good striking and very good wrestling. Or I should say, we thought had good striking, but very good wrestling. And he is an eager striker, but that dude kept throwing. He'll go bop, bop, and then just bring his head right back here. And it's like, bro, if you throw this, right? So I'm standing this way, jab, cross. Once I throw the cross, I need to roll under. And again, there are certain opponents you don't want to roll under. Like if you're fighting Dan Hooker, you got to be careful about rolling under because he'll knee you. So it's not a get out of jail free card, but it is certainly going to be better than pulling straight back or just throwing and your head doesn't move. And he kept doing that. And Rongju teed off on him. But I tell you what, Cody Steele's got a hell of a chin, and those dudes threw down for the majority of that fight, and then especially in the last 30, and then especially in the last 10, which I really appreciate that from him. So a learning lesson for Cody Steele, a great performance from Rongju, a lot to be proud of there. Tom Nolan got a good win over Vyacheslav Borshov. Gabriel Santos looking real good against Jack Jenkins, got rocked like a motherfucker in the first round, but nevertheless almost got a triangle and then kind of slowly took the fight over and then submitted Jack Jenkins in the third round from the back. That was nice by him. Tom Nolan, as I mentioned, looked pretty good. Wang Tong looking decent enough against Bruno Brazil. Didn't really turn it up all the way, but not bad. All right. With that in mind, if you got anything you want to get into the super chat, now is the time. Let's see what you got here. And of course, if you haven't, thumbs up, subscribe, join the party. It'd feel so nice. These are still from the main event. Typical Sean just doesn't throw enough. Just spaz. What a waste of everyone's time to rematch these two. They didn't need to make the fight. That's a good point. Like, I understood why they did. They wanted to do Sean a solid, it looks like. I didn't think I thought he won, but it was the first time they fought, but it wasn't like some kind of overwhelming thing, you know. Is DDP going to gas out? It always looks that way, and then he never does. They're sparring. F this, $80 down the drain. They weren't sparring. They're just a difficult style. Strickland's game is just too ingrained to change. It was tonight. It was tonight. BC going to call this a technical thriller on Monday. It's the most amazing fight I've ever seen. Alan says, I don't think I want to see these two fight again. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that too. I agree. OG McGee, at this point, Strickland's only hope to win on the cards is to rest in good old Sal's. Even that wasn't going to save him. Izzy managed to lose to this peak mediocre jab man. Styles make fights, Bubba. Styles make fights. Not getting beat up, his nose is in orbit. Yeah, well, now at that point, yes. What's up, my friend? Thank you. Never let Sean fight outside the apex ever again. I don't know if he's going to want to fight outside of the apex ever again. Sean may spar so much at this point that all he does, even in fights, might all be in his head. I think he was compromised, folks. I don't know exactly how much. I don't know if that's the full. I mean, I'm not saying it's the full explanation, but yeah, he looked compromised. Why was our time wasted on this versus Hamzat? It's a good question. They didn't need to make this fight, and they just did. They just did. By the way, all right, we have a poll going. 60% think DDP beats Hamzat. Wow. That's an interesting. We'll have to see how that goes. Matt says, it's just so hard to back DDP up. Him versus Chimaev will be so interesting. Yes, it will be. Zenpai, DDP fights like how I do in my dreams. We need Shama to educate him. Gonna have to wait on that one. Danny says, Strickland's inability to throw more than one punch is frustrating. I agree. Matt, let's be honest. DDP is awesome. Give him his flowers. He is. Hi, Alex. Carl says, DDP might win, but we need a Hamzat title fight. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Jackson says, what a title defense from Zhang. Such versatile MMA. Nixit gave Sean everything he needed to hear. Just tough to change your fighting DNA. Yeah, it's true. It's your signature, you know? How do you change that? I mean, you can, but then it feels weird, you know? Timmy says, not necessarily next, but which fight up intrigues you more? Islam Shavkat at 170 or DDP Poatan? I'm going to say DDP Poatan, to be honest with you. I think that's a little more out there. Email me back about that round timer. Okay, I will. Danny says, thank God I used a link and didn't buy that. I paid for this pay-per-view. NYM says, I'll die on the hill that Strickland's success was more of an indictment of the state of middleweight rather than him actually being an elite fighter. See, I don't fully agree. I think that is partly true. I also think it's partly timing, but he does have elite defense. Now, I know it looks weird, but in terms of like being frustrating for an opponent against elite guys, he does give elite guys problems. So I do think he is, but he's not an elite offensive fighter. Jackson says, LOL at people thinking Poatan in the corner meant anything. I could hear him just muttering Shama in the background post round 4. Hey, man, not the worst time to have that. Tommy says, Sean still looked fresher and wasn't breathing nearly as heavy as Dricus. Dricus's face still looked worse most of the fight. Doesn't matter. It's not a modeling contest. Christian says, Luke, for those who may not have been following MMA at the time, can you opine on the impact of Brendan Schaub had on his sport and legacy? We doing skits and bits here? Is that what this is? Dude, I'll tell you what, people love to bag on Brendan, and, you know, far be it from me to get in front of the internet's runaway train when it comes to that. But the motherfucker knocked out Mirko Krokop. Like, you know, it's not the worst thing to have on your resume. I hope people can respect that. I certainly do. Fofo says, what are your thoughts on Cody Steele losing his debut? Great question. Looks like he needs a lot more work. He needs a lot of work. He's obviously got great athleticism. He's got, I think, better wrestling than he showed tonight. He's obviously got great jiu-jitsu, but his striking defense is a problem. It's a real big problem. He's tough. He's tough, and that's great, but that's not enough either. Barone says, boring, dull card. For the welterweight, fights were way better 15 years ago than they are now. I don't fully disagree. GSP Silva's era was far more entertaining. I definitely agree with that. Misremembered says, teep, jab, and windmill right that every striking coach would hate. 3 Sean Strickland title fights is a middleweight indictment. Thanks for the commentary. Go Birds! Jules says, what's your favorite UFC entrance ever? BJ Penn coming out to Brudais is haunting. I mean, I don't know what he's become of the man now, but back then it was something special. Four-Eyed says, now that 312 is done and dusted, how do you feel about your 6 out of 10 rating you gave it ahead of time? I really enjoyed this card. Rongju and Steele on the early prelims was great. Yeah, I might dial it down to like a 5.5. The problem was maybe even a 5. The main events, the main and the co-main just weren't competitive. That's the problem. They weren't competitive. Like, they were kind of whatever. You know, I don't think that's all that great. Let's see if we got any more updates. No. I mean, if those had delivered a little bit more, I would have felt good about giving this card even maybe higher than a 6. But, you know, I thought that the prelims, for the most part, were what we thought they were going to be, and maybe even a little bit better. I feel pretty good about that part. And I knew that the first 3 fights on the main card were just whatever the fuck. I had kind of hopes that it might look a little bit more interesting on the main and co-main, and it just didn't, you know. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Srikant, if I'm saying that correctly, says, doesn't it feel like UFC fighter quality has gone down over the years? What a meh card. It feels that way because it has gone that way. People get bitter when you say this, but it's really quite true. Henry says, as great as Chimaev is, I still believe DDP will beat him by decision or by a late stoppage in the fight. It may look like the Weili Tatiana fight. What are your thoughts? Gilbert Burns gave him a lot of problems, but Gilbert Burns is a different kind of fighter than DDP. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Could I see a world where DDP just perseveres and like stops the guy because he can't maintain an attack? Yes. Do I see a world where Hamzat fucks him up like he does everybody else? I absolutely do. Dude, his shot, like, how many people have really put it on DDP in terms of like aggressive wrestling? I haven't really seen that. I mean, Brunson, I guess a little bit. Brunson to an extent, but even then, like not like this. Brunson's not Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah, man. Albert says, Luke, if you and your wife didn't have a child yet and you were the sole breadwinner, what salary would be ideal for you to enjoy luxury? It depends where you live and what luxury you're looking for. I feel like most Americans, and this is like, I'm talking like in a very good, you pay somebody in America $250K, you can live a very, very, you can live a nice life for less than that. But at $250K, there's no reason why you can't have a good life, right? Unless, special circumstances. MMA Savage says, I'm confused. Sean always looks amazing against influencers and is electric in the press conference. Electric's a strong word. I wonder if DDP can deal with Khamzat's leg rides and mat returns. This is what I mean, dude. That is a completely untested version of his game as it relates to the kinds of things Khamzat can do. Totally untested. Both of their cardio is fire, yes. Chris says, can we be done with the Suarez equals female Habib comparisons now? Yes. It feels stupid at this point. At one point, it wasn't. But it certainly feels stupid now. Seth says, first off, fantastic fight companion. After tonight, how do you think a Strickland-Izzy fight would go? If that Strickland shows up, I think Izzy wins. I think if that's a diminished version because he was sick and there's another gear he can hit, I think he goes back to winning. But if that one shows up, he loses. Did you see in pre-show DC had rematch with cancer for Suarez as part of his notes? I did see that. At this point, UFC will get away with murder with this unprofessionalism. It's like, yeah, someone's like, oh, I want to see your rematch cancer. I don't know if he wrote that line or if someone gave it to him. I tend to think I like DC. I know some people have different feelings about. I like Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier has always been cool to me, and I think genuinely he's a good person. Not my favorite joke. Not my favorite joke. Kevin Lee. I don't know if it's the Kevin Lee. Who else was nervous when Sean took the mic? Actually, it wasn't. Half the roster are racist or anti-Semites at this point, it seems like. But I actually wasn't this time. I didn't think he was going to make it about that. Mr. Rat says, DDP's ability to make his opponents constantly reset is exceptional. Yes. Also, what time do you want the Donks over tomorrow for the Super Bowl? I'm good on that, player. I'm going to watch that with my fam and go to bed early. Devin says, I just can't see DDP stopping Khamzat's back take. That's a holdup for me, too. You're reading my mind. That is an absolute holdup for me as well. No question about it. Guy says, does Ilya face any disadvantages due to his bro competing in the UFC with the same style? No. I learned more about the negatives of their style than I ever have by watching Ilya, and there's more tape. I don't think so. The interesting part is, are they going to fast track him to a title shot? That seems very premature. I'm just saying, we'll see how that goes. Because Merab is his teammate, or it was in his corner anyway, or whatever the fuck that was. And yeah, that's a weird one. But, they'll solve that problem. I know it's, Four-Eyed says, I know it's been covered a bunch so far, but I am so keen to see DDP versus Khamzat. Me too. Two bulls colliding. Exactly. That round one is going to be fire. It's going to be one of the best fucking. I can't fucking wait to see that. You want to talk about electric? That's electric. Sean Strickland being like, women should make sandwiches. Okay, all right. Somehow MMA has decided that the enlightened worldview is 1982's Andrew Dice fucking Clay, which blows my mind because I lived through his popularity and ultimately his decline, and it declined because we're like, oh, he just says a bunch of stupid shit. But stupid shit is in fashion now, so there you go. If DDP beats Khamzat and Imavov, does he overtake Izzy as the second best middleweight of all time? Thinking about the competition difference, he might. The Khamzat one in particular is, if he beats Khamzat, the question is not does he beat Izzy, but does he beat Weidman at that point? He might. Yeah. Matt says, thoughts on Suarez not doing an interview with Ariel since joining Dominance after he gave her a platform always. BS if you ask me. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's gone that way. I don't support any fighter. I mean, listen, every fighter has a right to go on whatever show they want or not, talk to whoever they want or not. That includes me. That includes Ariel. That includes anybody. That's life. That's fine. But, you know, if there's really no beef between them and it's a thing that they're doing out of like adherence to their manager at the expense of better exposure for themselves, it's just not like, you should never be doing things as a fighter that are in your manager's interest if they're not also in yours. And it's not clear to me how, and maybe I'm missing something, but it's not clear to me how this situation escapes that. So that's unfortunate. I will say she's been nice to me. You guys know me, like my interest in doing interviews has dropped off a fucking cliff. But to the extent I've had any conversation with her, she's been a pro to me and very kind. And I don't wish her poorly, certainly, but you know, she was somewhat. I mean, she's had a lot of bad luck, but in terms of tonight, she had a little bit of luck even being there. And yeah, it didn't work out great. It didn't work out great. Early prediction on how DDP versus Khamzat goes. I think Khamzat gets his back. I reserve the right to change my opinion. You're asking me literally on the UFC 312 post-fight show that I do. So I am reserving the right to change my opinion based on new information that we get and whenever that fight is booked, and we can talk more about it. But as it stands right now at 2:17 in the morning, where do I come down on it? I think Khamzat takes his back and finishes him off. That's what I think. Every time I think, oh, Khamzat can't run through the barrier of this person's defense, they fight, and then their defense just collapse. Obviously, Gilbert Burns being the only exception to that, or, you know, not the only one. The Usman one was also that. That was short notice. That was weird. That was also 170, or the Burns fight was also at 170. I just kind of feel like he's really talk about fine-tuning things. He's fine-tuning them, and I think it's going to pay off for him pretty big. Yeah. But I reserve the right to change my opinion. The legs on Suarez, no calves, random, but looked crazy. She had body locks several times and couldn't get the takedown. The game has caught up. The game, dude, she had her hands locked. Now, just because you have your hands locked doesn't mean you can automatically suck them back in. But obviously, this is the key ingredient, because if there's no lock, I mean, it's hopeless. And like I said, just because there is a lock doesn't mean it's not hopeless. But if you have the lock, that's like the central ingredient upon which to build the rest of it. And I didn't understand why she wasn't stepping through, pulling them onto her lap and then turning them. She was going for stepping to the outside off that body lock. But like, if you're going to step to the outside, man, you got to do that quickly. You got to run them a direction. You got to move fast on that. And then she got turned because she'd had that, because you saw Zhang would fire the far side underhook. And then you would see, how many times did you see Suarez tonight like this? Right? Because that far side underhook was getting jacked up here, pushing her over that way. And then she would just get turned. And then she would get turned and then flattened out. So Zhang Weili, they were ready, dude. That's what I'm telling you, man. She was ready. They were ready. They knew what was coming. They did a great job. Four Eyes says, Izzy and Rob hanging out and training now. Now Izzy and Poatan sitting next to each other. I saw that. I love to see old foes making friends. When are you going to see Dana White and Frank Shamrock next to each other? Probably never, right? How about me and Dana? Huh? Me, Ariel, and Dana? All arm in arm at the blackjack table? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? It'll never happen. All right. Boys and girls, we are out of here. We are out of here. If you got anything else you want to put in the super chat, you can. Let me just say thanks to everyone who tuned in tonight. It's late. It's time to go get some sleep. I greatly appreciated this stream. It wasn't the best of cards. It wasn't the most fun, but I still had fun with you, and I'm really glad you guys tuned in. It means more than you could possibly know. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. So for everyone who donated, thank you. And there's some more I'll put up here in just a second. For everyone who donated, thank you. For everyone who subscribed, thank you. For everyone who liked this video, thank you. For everyone who watched, thank you. For everyone who told anyone else to watch, thank you. Let's get one more of these up here. Alex Poatan seen DDP in the back and said, super fight at 205. Who wins? Probably Poatan at 205. Probably Poatan. All right. All right. So I thank you all so much for joining me on not the best night of MMA, but a good night with my MMA online pals, just the same, the audience here on my channel. Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate it. And that's it. I'm out of here. Until next time, boys and girls, get some sleep. Enjoy the fights. MK on Monday, live at 11 a.m. We're out. Peace, y'all.